As much as I am disgusted with what I saw yesterday and last night and this morning, I feel compelled to discuss it and have a conversation about it because this is serious. You know, a part of me is upset with myself because I subscribed to this man's channel, Hassan Campbell, going back to 2017. Okay? And his channel was one of my favorite channels to watch because I felt that it was so real and honest. And I have followed and watched his videos before he was making YouTube videos, when he was on Facebook. I mostly interacted, I would say mostly comment on Facebook though, because I felt that Facebook, because since I was mostly on Facebook at the time, I wasn't on YouTube at that time, Facebook was more my sense of comfort. And he was very respectful to everybody on Facebook. And I felt that on Facebook, he was more comfortable. Like, if you go on his Facebook persona and YouTube persona is different. Totally different. And then when he transitioned to YouTube, he was the same from what I saw. But things did take a left turn initially with the whole situation with the young man. What's that dude? I can't think of his name. Ronald Savage. Okay. From that point on, that's when, it started going. He started going down that avenue of beefing. Now, I said for like a year and a half, I was busy working, busy doing my personal stuff, and then also building my YouTube channel. So his videos never came up. I missed all the drama except for the situation with Israel Doctrine. Other than that, I didn't know anything about these beefs for all these other people until finding it out, really going back to last year. And I will be honest, and I will say this, I still didn't really understand the gist of it because I was trying to put pieces together. Because I'm the type person, let me figure things out for myself and let me see it. I wanted to see the footage of what everybody complained about. And when I would research it, it didn't come up, literally speaking, until a couple of months ago. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this was the dude who said he was a child victims advocate. But after what I saw tonight, I couldn't deal with it. After tonight, I couldn't deal with it. I just had to separate myself from the whole thing. I literally had to unsubscribe. I can't. So I want to talk about this epic meltdown. And I want to talk about some of the things he said, because it was disgusting. It was a train wreck. But also, we got to call it what it was. It was really heartbreaking. It really was. Because this man, he's asking for somebody. It seems like he's asking for somebody to basically either take him out, or pretty much he's a train wreck that will bring other people on the train. And I think he wants to destroy people more so than himself. So let me get into it. So I'm doing a breakdown about it. And so these are the first points. He basically talked about the crimes he partook in when he was growing up. He even talked about these stories about he's a street dude. I think some of them was fake. He also glorified the hood. He also talked about a story where he pointed a gun at a dude. It was a fake gun, but the OGs diffused the situation, and that's the only reason why it never escalated to the way it could have. But if it's a fake gun, that means he wouldn't have been shooting at him. Okay. Then some of the other important points is that he talked about how when he did 2 years in Rikers, they sent him to the psychiatric ward at Bellevue to basically do some testing. When he went to Bellevue, it seems like he was willing to go to get a break from being in Rikers jail. I guess his case wasn't coming up on the calendar. But after being inside of Rikers, he realized it wasn't for him. That's what he says. He said he saw people, 3 guys hanging themselves. And then this one dude basically ate a light bulb because his girlfriend decided that she wanted to leave him for another woman. So he tried to end his life. So they had to cut open his neck and his throat to get the glass out of his throat and his neck. That seemed like a movie that he saw. And there's a movie that depicted a scene like that. And if I'm not mistaken, that's from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was one of my favorite books that I read in high school. And I think that was the Billy Babbitt character that did that shit with the exit sign and cut the glass. I'm gonna look at that movie tonight and see it, because I think he got a lot of that stuff from the movies. So yeah, a lot of his stories with the OGs and the street, he was living out a movie. He watches movies and adds it to his life. Now then he goes in on Kwame, and he says that Kwame was the NBA's bitch, and that he basically was fucked over, and they fucked him over without any Vaseline. So basically he's saying that Kwame was basically a bust who has come onto social media to make himself relevant, because he was never relevant. He was never a star NBA player, except for when he got drafted back in 2001. So now he wants to make himself relevant after being fucked without Vaseline by all the greats, such as Michael Jordan, Kobe, all the icons. Now, that part, I'm not surprised he said, but then he says he don't have any beef with him. He want to build with him. He's willing to fight him still. But if he's willing to basically move on, he's willing to move on. And so, really, the whole Kwame thing, that fight ain't never going to happen. Which is why my poll basically agreed with that. They was like, it's not going to happen. Now, anyway, moving along. This part is what really, really disturbs me. Okay? We get to about the 4-minute mark. Literally the 4-minute and 25-second mark. And there's a woman that comes up, and her name is Nashe. And she basically makes a comment. Instead of just, ignoring the comment, he basically says in these words, and I'm paraphrasing it. He was like, oh, yeah, you know what? Because the girl mentions Bam. So he said, you know what? I'll tell you what. After me and Bam fuck your mother, we gonna run a train on your mother. No. We gonna run a train on you. No. Let me stop. So then he says, let me correct myself. Bam wouldn't be attracted to your mother. So basically, after I run a train on you, he refers to the girl, not Nashe. Bam is going to use Vaseline on your little brother and your son. And so he says, basically, Bam, he says, he says that he would buy the baby oil so that he could squirt oil, so that Bambaataa would be able to squirt oil in the baby brother's eyes, which is sick and twisted. Then he basically says, now this, if you got any kids in the room, if there's anybody young around you, tell them to leave. Okay? He then acknowledges that he would offer to buy Bambaataa baby oil again, so that him, as far as Hassan Campbell and Afrika Bambaataa, could have a threesome with the little brother. Now, I want to make something clear. When he's talking about little brother, he means like as in the little boy. So in other words, he just admitted that he would partake in pedophilic acts with Bambaataa. And now what's also bringing my antennas is that he's probably was doing this shit with Bambaataa. He could have been messing with little boys with Bambaataa, or he could have just been messing with little boys on his own. Because even when you're in a drunk stupor or you high, if you don't think like that, you're not going to say anything like that. And that's something that we got to stop. And people who is still riding this Hassan Campbell train, you know damn well that this ain't cool. You know damn well this ain't right. And you need to check yourself, because if you still subscribe to him after this, I'm sorry. Anybody who subscribes to this man, unless you don't know what's going on, you's a fool. I don't trust you at all, because you basically enabling this dude to act sick and twisted and disgusting on YouTube for some money. So afterwards, he basically goes in and talks about how he would invite Bambaataa to perform fellatio on him. Then he basically does these weird gestures with opening his mouth, and then how he would cock his butt up, open his legs, and how he would say, in Bambaataa, you could, give me fellatio, because since, my baby mother, my wife won't do it, you could do it, you could come over. And he basically is like, I wanted to let you suck my dick. This dude literally said this. He admitted that he wouldn't have a problem with Bambaataa sucking his dick. And he didn't say that it was a joke. Okay? That part he didn't say. Now with the little boy comment, he did say that he was joking. After he said all that. But he wasn't joking. He tried to make that a disclaimer. Then he even goes as far as to disrespect his quote-unquote wife because she gave him a hot Heineken bottle, even though I don't believe that's Lily. I believe that's some new chick that's living in Bronx River. And I'm going to get to the Bronx River housing thing. I'm going to get to that. Then he says that he no longer will be posting on the main page because the views are being messed over by YouTube. Then he says that because Kwame was an NBA star, he felt honored to be mentioned, to have Kwame Brown mention his name, which was the goal. In the Swig and Twisted Things, he achieved his goal of having Kwame Brown saying his name. Then he also claims and brags that he makes more money than rappers. He makes more money on YouTube with his views, his super chats, his donations, and his YouTube checks. And combined, he makes more money than rappers selling records, okay? Then he talks about this guy named Pretty Black, who was a gangster, who committed crimes. But he says that Pretty Black worked under him, which meant that he ran Pretty Black. So he was ordering all these hits. I don't believe that. I believe that he got this shit from the movie Juice. I believe he gets all this stuff about this gangster life from all these hood films. Then he basically says that he wants to make Salat before he leaves the earthly plane, and he does not want to be seen as a kafir, which is like an infidel and a fake. It's really like a fake phony Muslim, which he comes off. He's a jailhouse Muslim. Then he basically throws up what's supposed to be a stack of $10,000 and 100 bills. And it was fake. But I want to talk about something that was also, that showed his ignorance. Somebody mentioned coding to him. Like, you should talk more about coding. He said, don't mention the word coding to me, because coding sounds like agent talk. And he doesn't like the word coding because it basically shows really that he's inept. He's uneducated. And then he makes a comment that's really filthy. And he says, do you say coding while Kwame busts all in your mouth? And he was talking to the viewers who support who supports like coding education. And then he even goes on how he admits to basically, burying, corpses, bodies and shit, and how it's something that he would do, like it's part of the culture of the hood, which he's fucking lying, because that's not it. Then he says something that I feel, I want to jump back. I want to jump a little bit forward. He says that his smallest YouTube check was a little bit under $40,000. I don't know. I don't see that, because the money on YouTube, nobody's bringing that money in. In order for him to basically have that kind of money a month, he would have to have at least 600K subscribers. I'm just going to say that. But he said two things that were very telling. Besides the molestation claims, the fellatio claims, the do the train on the woman, the afrikabambaataa, having him give him top. He says that, and he admits this, he says that if he was younger, he would have shot Kwame Brown if he was a younger man, had they beefed when he was like basically in his 20s. But he says that he would have turned off my son's TV. He would have turned my son's TV off if he was younger. So basically what he's saying in the two, because people may think that's the same thing. No, it's a difference. He said he would have shot Kwame. Shooting Kwame doesn't mean that he would basically kill Kwame or murder Kwame. But my son, in the reference of term turning off his TV off, that meant that he would have did the killation to my son. He hates my son because my son went to jail and took a bid, but made something out of himself. You can say what you want to about the Black Lives Matter thing, but he did do something positive. He's not going around starting beefs and everything. He's doing something that does have a positive look. I have my issues with my son in terms of how they treat it, how they do the BLM, but still, you don't say that you're going to turn somebody's TV off. And that's a signal, because what if somebody was to do that to that man? That's evil. And I'm going to wrap this up and give my assessment. I'm going to do more videos on Hassan Campbell. And this is not for views, but I feel as though being from Harlem, this situation makes New York look bad. This dude comes from the Bronx, and I'm going to say this. We people up in New York City have always considered the Bronx to have some of the worst people. It is what it is. But something else is bigger. And what it is that there was a culture permeating in New York City in the 80s, late 70s and 80s. That was really grimy. And a lot of these shiftless black men came out of that area in the Bronx. Not just the Bronx. They came out of that area. And it's really funny how all of those people were connected somewhere in the Bambaataa. And it makes me wonder, were they all ran through in a sexual cult? Or were they basically came from like bad situations and didn't know how to really like navigate mentally? Because what we see from Hassan, he's a representation of that whole dreadfulness of New York City from the 70s and 80s that led to the gentrification of New York. It was his kind that our government wanted out of New York City. Yes, he stayed in the city. And he does, because I'm going to tell you, that apartment, when he's saying that he goes back to her every day, he's living in that apartment. He doesn't live in a house, because if you could tell, the room, the setting and everything, when he was in that video with Kwame Brown, he walked inside that apartment. He was not in the neighborhood with the nice houses and the nice trees and the flowers. The kids didn't leave him. His family didn't leave him. Lily more than likely kicked him out. That's why he's in the Bronx. That's why he's been going out of Bronx with her. And that's his prerogative. And that's a smart move that he kept the apartment. But at the same token, it's like, dude, you could have went out you could have been one of the greatest YouTubers ever. But you decided to let your emotions get to you by basically proving all your enemies right. You proved Israel Doctrine, Kev Gills, Monty Woodgrain, Wax Dog, Gully TV, even though y'all piece it out. Who else? Melee All Day. Let me see, who else? Khalil Amani, Sanetta, a very important name, Sanetta. Even Star is done with you. Okay? Layla Wills. Let me see who else. I don't really want to mention the whole thing. I'm not going to mention that I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to say that name. And I have my reasons as to why. I'm not going to say that name. Let me see who else. Oh my gosh, so many people. I really, the list goes. Young Pharaoh. Who else? King Erna. The list, and a lot of dudes from Philly. You got a lot of beef with people in Philly. I know you're not going to Philly. You got more beef with people in Philly than in Cali. Who else? Let me see. Shit, even Bronx Donna. Like, yeah, like a lot of people, you let a lot of people down. Mac Mean, like, all these people who was your moderators. A lot of these people was riding with you. I don't know about Monty Woodgrain. I can't say that because the videos I saw, he didn't really like say anything. He have any videos like that. But like a lot of people turned on you because they felt that you weren't authentic, and you proved all of them right. And it's disheartening. It's sad. So I'm just going to leave on that note. I'm going to come back with one more video, one more upload, and then I'm going to go to bed. Because this shit with Hassan is draining as fuck. But I'm going to make a couple more commentaries, and then I'm just done with it. So have yourself a good night sleep, and take care.